Hey, what's up y'all? I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for coming back for yet another week. So this has been kind of an interesting week, as a lot of you know, and a lot of people are staying home, so that means at least a chance to catch up on a lot of yard work. You want to get outside and avoid cabin fever, and as well as some other... So listen, So a lot of you all are kind of stuck at home now for long periods of time, and I get it, I am too. And so one of the things that you want to do is get out in the lawn and get working. And I've actually had a chance this week to complete a few projects that I've been putting off for a long time. And so some of those will be in this video, as well as some tips and some things I'm seeing actually here in Florida. We're in the midst of our dry seasons, probably hitting you guys in South Texas as well. So we'll go over some of those tips, and then lots of other things that I think will just be interesting to y'all. There's always something you can learn here and there, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the timestamps for this video right here. I always like doing that. I'll tell you what, people say St. Aug is like crabgrass and it's not good barefoot grass, but when you keep it with enough nitrogen, it really is, it's not too bad. I mean, I could like swim in this, you know what I mean? I don't know if you can hear it, but there's some sort of dog shelter or dog rescue or something up over by there, way back over behind the houses over by there. And the dogs have been whipping up in a frenzy. Sometimes I think the wild pigs get in there and start rooting around their kennels. I don't know, I've never actually been over there, but you might hear that in the background of some of the videos here. Either way, what I really need to do today is enjoy the mow, which is pretty awesome. So I'm gonna do that today, but before I do, I actually need to give some attention to my palms, and specifically I need to treat them for scale and mealy bugs. So let's get after that right now. So I've pointed this out before and mostly just ignored it over the last couple years, because you know, the way palms work obviously is the lower fronds here, they drop. And so anything that's infected is gonna drop, and then the top ones are good. And these grow so fast and so healthy because I'm always nailing them over here with the good stuff using this easy flow. I know I told you guys that I would do a video on this, but the reason I haven't is there's a little bit of learning curve here, a little bit of frustration. It's good and I like it a lot. Trust me, it's awesome to be able to put my product in here and then spray it out true air. That's really awesome, but there is some challenges with that. So I don't know if I'll have time to go into that or not, but either way, that's why these grow just so healthy and thick. And I mean, you're not gonna be able to see it on camera, but these are impressive, these foxtail palms. So either way though, so what happens is these down here get damaged, those up there look fine, but what happens is obviously and inevitably is the mealy bugs that are infecting these lower fronds end up migrating to the top fronds. So I need to do something about it. And I've been trying to manage that mostly through just using horticultural oils. I was using neem oil a little bit, and then one of you guys said that neem oil can actually have an adverse reaction for certain plants, and it is pretty strong. When you smell it, it smells like garlic and basil. And some folks told me, hey, you better be careful what you put that on. So then I went to like just a general mineral oil. And what the mineral oil does is it suffocates the insects. Of course, it's also considered organic, natural, whatever you want to say. So it's a soft control, and I like that. I don't always want to have to use a chemical. So let me just show you though what the mealy bugs actually look like. So there's only a couple on here, and I'll take some still photos so you can see them. I actually put these under a microscope in a video not long ago. I'll see if I can find it and link to it. And actually, I think that one's moving. But that's what they are. And you know, again, there's only a couple on this one. If you look at some of these other ones, they're just covered in mealy bugs. And then of course you can see their frass on there as well. So spraying them was doing okay controlling them, but as these get taller, you know, I have a decent backpack sprayer that I use, but they're just getting too tall. So I need to switch now to a systemic control instead of a contact control. And what a systemic control is the tree will actually absorb the insecticide into itself, so that way when the mealy bugs start to feed, they take a bite of death and they're done. And that's obviously going to be much more effective. The thing about it is the product that we use is extremely expensive. Okay, so here's the product we're using. But the thing about it is you only need a few grams for each application you do. So we're gonna weigh that out. I'll show you all that here. But before we do that and go into all of the label here, we need to understand the size of the palms, or in your case, trees or whatever. It's based on DBH, which stands for diameter at breast height. So we need to get that for all of our trees in order to know how much of this product needs to go into the base of each one. And we're gonna do a root drench, which means I'm gonna pour this in water in a bucket, stir it all up good, and then dump it around the root ball of each plant. Okay, now the easiest way to get the DBH, or the diameter at breast height, is to get the circumference, and then to get the diameter, this is of any circle, you get the circumference and you divide by pi, which is 3.14. I always say this, but this is a fun thing to do with your kids. Why not do a little bit of math and do it on something in nature, so that way it really sticks home for them? Oh, this is why I need to understand how to get the diameter of a circle, or in this case, the diameter at breast height of a palm tree. I don't know if you can see that, but we're gonna call that 33 inches. That's the circumference of that palm. Now, all three are about the same. You know, I've already done this last year. I measured them last year, and they were all real close, and they've all been fed the same. So if you wanted to be perfect, you would do all three and then take the average, but since all three of these are the same, I'm gonna stick with just doing the one here. Okay, what is 33 divided by pi? She came up with the answer cake. 10 and a half. So that means then that the diameter of these palms is 10 and a half. And now we can go and read the label on the Safari and determine how much we need to get into the root zone of each one of these. So let's take a look at something. I did this last year. Yeah, see, the foxtails last year had a DBH of 7 inches. Now they're at 10 and a half. So that's pretty good, adding 3.5 inches of girth to those palms in 1 year. It just shows what happens when you fertilize them regularly, you know, keep them growing, keep them healthy. So don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. If you like a little reggae kind of chill music like this with some Bob, maybe a little Jimmy Buffett in it, I made a playlist for you. And what's cool is when I make the playlists on YouTube, I can actually then put them in my playlist list on this channel. So I'm gonna link below to a couple of playlists that I think you guys will like, that'll be encouraging during this time of the year. I did want to point out one other thing here. So if you're somewhere that you have ash trees and emerald ash borer is a challenge for you, you can use Safari for what they call basal trunk sprays, and they got it here on the label. Now, if they're over a 7-inch DBH, then you're gonna probably need to do some sort of injection into the tree. You could do imidacloprid in the root zone, but for sure, if you have a smaller ash, one of the best ways to get to those emerald ash borers, especially if you think that it was infected recently, is a basal trunk spray with Safari, because they hang right under that, what is it, the cadmium layer there? They hang right under there and do all their damage, creating these galleries, they're called. And so this will absorb in there and kill them. So something to think about, do a little bit more research on it. Okay, so this is one of those where the label can be a little confusing to read, but I'm going with grams because I'm gonna actually weigh out the amount, and grams will be the best measuring unit to do that. The application rate here for soil drench to in-ground trees is 3 to 12 grams per inch of diameter at breast height. So I'm gonna go with a lower mid rate, and that's basically because I need this entire bottle to stretch to do my entire landscape, not just these 3 trees. So I'm gonna go with 5 grams per inch, and I have 10.5 inches, which means I need 52.5 grams of Safari for each tree. Now what I'm gonna do is just put that 52.5 grams into my container here just to see what it looks like and get a visual. I'll do actual measurements when I'm actually treating them. And remember, I'm going with the mid rate here. I'm not going low and I'm not going high, I'm going with mid rate. That's typically what I do with most products I use. But for sure, I just wanna get a visual on what it looks like. Even though I am gonna be measuring in the field on site, I still wanna get a visual just so I understand it. Okay, next, while we're gonna be dumping some Kim in there, we might as well put in some good stuff. And you're gonna find that the Flora Green here works on DBH also. Here we go, right here, see? Palms, apply at a rate of 1 ounce per caliper inch of diameter at shoulder height. Apply as a soil drench at the base of the palm. So 1 ounce per inch. We have 10.5 DBH, so we need 10.5 ounces of Flora Green for each one of the palms. And that can be mixed right in with the Safari, no problem. So as far as how much water I'm going to use, this is a 5-gallon bucket. I'll probably fill it up to like 4 gallons. I just need enough to be able to drench around. A lot of weeds coming in here too. I just need enough water to be able to drench the entire root ball. And I found that for these 4 gallons is plenty. We're also going to water it in. We want to get it through the rocks. I don't have mulch in here or anything, but I definitely want to get it through the rocks and get it to where the roots are all at. Now, I didn't just make the investment for my foxtails, even though that alone would have been worth it. I also made it because my sago palms, these are Cycadaceae, these get a form of scale really bad, and I've been treating this also with the horticultural oils. Hear this guy? Bro, I'm trying to film, man. That dude sits on my back fence every morning and eats earthworms. It's really cool. Holy cow, we got everything going on here today. Anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about here. So the sagos, I was actually spraying them and controlling them as well, but what happens is, and again, I learned this from comments, you guys are so smart. Somebody said that the scale, I guess, works its way down into the crown, and once it gets down in there, it starts to eat the palm from the inside out in some way. So either way, then these horticultural oils won't work. So I need systemic control for these two. These are not from Mealy Bug, these are from Scale, but the product Safari will do the same thing. Look at this. Told you guys, I find these for like months. Okay, now just FYI, when you're doing shrubs, or in this case I'm doing very small Cycadaceae palms, Cycads, or whatever you call them, so sagos. So it says here on the label, 3 to 6 grams per foot of height. So these things are about 2 feet. So I'm gonna go 6 grams for each one of my sago palms. So you can see quite a bit less, but it's a smaller plant, of course. Yeah, see, you can see all the scale down in there, all that white stuff. So this also will have some kill on them when it hits them too. Now, in the interest of being thorough, I don't think I did this when I first did the first one, but you know, that's a dry product there. It's a good idea first to put water in your little tank here and just get it into a slurry. That's a really good idea, into your cup like that, just to get things pre-dissolved or pre-put into suspension ahead of time, and then dump into your main that's already got water in it. That's a much better way to do it. So if I showed earlier where I was just dumping the dry directly in there and stirred it like heck, it's better to create a suspension slurry first, then pour it into your bucket that's already got like a gallon in it, and then stir from there. Or agitate, or whatever term you want to use. Well, right, now that all that's done, it's time for me to enjoy the mow. Now, I am crunched for time here. I would love to walk this, but I have so much to do. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm gonna be installing the infield, not just me by myself, but gonna be working to install the infield over at the Freedom Factory. That's owned by Cletus McFarland. He bought a racetrack not far from here. I've been working for a few weeks now to get all of that planned and everything. So I've got to get out there and actually put down some starter fert on the bare ground. Got a lot of things I got to do there. So I'm not going to be able to enjoy a walk mow, but that's one of the reasons why they call the time cutter, because it's going to cut my time down. So I can get the entire lawn mowed literally in like 30 minutes now, whereas it used to take, with a 21-inch walk behind, about an hour. That said, I still do enjoy using the time cutter. I enjoy riding. I put my headphones on, put a little music on, and sometimes I wish it actually lasted longer, so I do a double cut, but it's still a lot quicker and it saves me time. So I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy that mow now. Before I do that though, I wanted to show you, I was out at the sod farm recently just checking on the grass that we're putting in over at his place. We're putting in the Scott's Pro Vista St. Augustine grass. Oh yeah, we're going first class over there. But I did want to show you something out there that kind of illustrates growth habits of warm season turf types, because if you think about it, when they harvest sod up north, they have to reseed the field in order to get new sod to grow. But they do it a little differently here in Florida with St. Augustine grass. So you'll see that when they cut the sod, they leave strips in between the rows. These strips are called ribbons, and it will take about 10 to 12 months for those ribbons to grow back together and be ready for harvest again. That's because St. Augustine is stoloniferous and sends out those runners to retake ground. Hey y'all, so I took a break from editing. I'm over here at the church. Got to pick up my John Deere tractor. A few of you would have seen I got that, I don't know, it's been a couple weeks ago now. And I'll be doing a full review on that here real soon, but I keep it over here at the church because I really got it to work on my project lawns. That's what I got it for. And but I need it because I got to go over to the Freedom Factory and put down some starter fert here this weekend before we do the sod. So had to come over here and pick it up. So this right here, this is Project Lawn Zoysia, and I just put fert on it Monday, so today is Friday. Already starting to green up. What I wanted to do though, they have a lot of irrigation out here, good irrigation, but I wanted to come out and see if I could notice any spots that are lacking, and I'm seeing a couple right out in here. Looks like irrigation is not covering too well. So I'm gonna need to come out here and adjust a little bit, because you can see we're fairly well greened up. This stripe right here was here before. I don't know why, there's just a low spot there or whatever. The irrigation must be missing right here. Maybe a little bit right here, definitely over there. A lot of leaves too, man, these oaks. So that's what I'm basically here for. Again, it doesn't look all that impressive yet, but this was just one app that I did on it. Also, I did order a bagger for the John Deere because, number one, for the leaves, but also because I'm not gonna mulch here because people walk on this before service every Saturday and Sunday. So we don't want them to track the clippings in, which happened in my last project lawn up in Indiana. So lesson learned there. So, but I just wanted to come out. I haven't even cut this yet, but it's gonna need to be cut now coming up. Bagger's not in yet, John Deere dealer. He ordered it, but it hasn't come in yet. So I would throw the water on it right now, but they just painted a bunch of parking lot strips over there, so I don't want to mess that up if any water flows over, even though it's super still today. And then the Bermudas over on the other end, it's greening up a little slower than the Zoysia here. So I'll give you full updates on this obviously coming up. I just got so much going on, but just want to let you know. Lots of fun stuff, and you can see lots of social distancing here. So I come out here and ride around and enjoy it and have a good time. I can't wait to enjoy the mow here. I'll be sure to share that with you guys when I do. All right, so today I'm doing a project that I actually dread. Got to fix some pavers that have collapsed in a backyard over by here. just between you and me, I do not like brick pavers in Florida. I mean, I think they look nice, but you know, I don't understand why you'd install brick pavers in a place that gets thunderstorms every afternoon in the summer. And when I say thunderstorms, I mean like 3 inches of rain comes down in like 35 minutes and it'll wash everything out. I don't care what kind of polymeric sand you're using. It doesn't matter. It's gonna get washed out. It's just a constant maintenance issue. And here we go. So, let's see, maybe you can, yeah, you can see it better from this end. You can see this one's receded a good 1/2 inch. See, and there's the sand. We have the polymer. See the sand there? So that's got the polymer on it, but just still, water gets underneath there, washes out, and we get a sinkage. And I deal with several of these every year, so I can only fix them in the dry season. It's really tough to do it in the rainy season, again, because it rains every day here. So we are in a major dry spell right now, plus the fact that we're all kind of stuck at home right now for obvious reasons. And so this is a time when I can catch up on this kind of maintenance, and that's what I'm gonna do today. Now it looks like this one is sunk, but I've also got some sinkage back here too. So I'm actually gonna have to pull a couple of these. It's never as easy as just pulling one. And these will have to come out too. So it's gonna be 1, and then 2, 3, 4, and we'll see where that goes from there. What a pain. If you can't tell, I really dread this work. It just, I don't know, I just don't like it. But anyway, I'm gonna gut it out and get her done. Okay, now before I get into this, let me just give this disclaimer here, because this is YouTube and everyone's an expert. I'm not, okay? So this is just a mix that I've been using every time one of these sinks, and I've never had one sink after I fixed it. All the ones that are sinking are ones that were here, you know, just originally from the contractor or whatever. Nothing against the contractor. Again, this happens. So the mix I use is Portland cement and sand. It's like 4 parts Portland. It's 4 parts Portland cement and 1 part sand. In other words, I mostly just dump a bunch of Portland cement down and I put a little sand on top, because sand is just a leveling agent. So that's typically what I use, and this has always worked really well for me. If you have a different mix that you use or a better strategy, please put that down in the comments as well. But I'm not telling you this is the best way. I'm telling you that this is the way that I've done. And I think I actually learned about this from watching YouTube videos several years ago. So there you go, Portland cement and a little bit of sand. The first thing we gotta do though is get this paver up, and this is always the hardest part, really. I know what you're thinking too. I should just take these out from the edge, but I'm pretty sure these are actually cemented down. There's like a footer that goes along the edge here, and I think these are cemented down into it from what I remember when I put in my rocks here. Yeah, see, these are cemented down, so these aren't coming out right here. That's why the edges don't. That's why none of the edges end up sinking. So I can't bust out from there and go over. But thanks for that great idea. All that's washed out. Now the other thing, because I'm bad at puzzles, is when I put them back together, I lay them out dry on the side like this. I lay them out dry, whatever I take out, so I don't forget where stuff goes. Yeah, so you can see it's washed out all the way up under there, and it stops there. So I can't tell, I don't know if you can tell, this is a different brick from another project. But what I do is, this is what I use to check for my level. It's the same size brick, it's just a different brick. That way I can bang on it. If it breaks, I don't care. So this is kind of how I do my leveling. And it also is going to compact all the stuff underneath at the same time. Now, when I'm done here, I want this slightly lower because I'm going to put in a layer of sand for leveling. And when this gets wet, this will set up and be hard, literally concrete. So that's why I want a little bit of sand on top, because I need the pavers to be able to move slightly. Just not as, I just don't want them to move as much as they apparently moved already. See how that's working? That brick is setting me up for success all the way through, and I'll keep going down. It's a little lower down there, so I'm gonna probably need a little more sand, but here's, you can see where the level was, and then here's where it is after I use the brick to tamp everything down where I want it. All right, I'm not sure if that was filming, but what I did is I gave it just a little bit of water, not much, just that. And that's just to help the Portland cement to set up. I don't want a big muddy mess, so just a little bit. And I'm gonna go through and level it one more time, and then I'll put a little bit of sand where I need it, but I'm not gonna go crazy with it. Need a little bit more in that corner, and I'm definitely gonna have to make a run to the local Ace to pick up some more sand. As I'm going through, I'm noticing this one here is low. I was getting ahead of myself, so I'm gonna go ahead and now and pull out these here, and I'm gonna have to go get some more Portland cement and some more sand. But I'm here, and I can see this one's sunk 1/8 of an inch, and then we're good back here. So I got to make a run to the store. Like I said, it's not a DIY project if I don't have to run to Ace at least 5 times in the middle of the project. So, and usually the smaller the project, the more times I have to run to Ace. So all right, well, there's where I am for now. I'm gonna let that dry, do a little bit more sand, and then I'm gonna seal it.